Hi, welcome to Eden's Living. I'm Susan Pierce. Just kidding, just kidding. I'm Dr. Delane Graytop. I'm a regular guest here on Eden's Living, and I have our lovely hostess here, Susan Pierce, because I get to be a guest interviewer today, which is so fun, and I get to actually
ask me the questions.
Ask you the questions. Now it's going to be 20 questions right now, and we get to hear about your story, which is so important, which is why you're making this show in the first place.
Right.
And you are making such a wonderful show, and I just have to shout out to you for this, that it is amazing that you are bringing this to people and that they get to learn it. And I would like to know, what led you here?
What led me here? Well, back in 1995, I had a 5-car pileup. And I was a pharmaceutical rep. I was doing biotech, respiratory medicine, cardiovascular, thinking I owned the world. Life was great. And then in a split second, I was in a 5-car pileup and found myself on a backboard, excruciating pain, and even called on this hospital. And the way they came in to let me know, they're like, Miss Pierce, you probably have a C1, C2 fracture. You're going to be in orthopedic surgery and you'll never walk. And they just left out of my room. And I sat there going, on a backboard, 25 years old, I was playing co-ed softball. I was playing a shortstop. So you can tell I was an athlete growing up. And just my whole life flashed. I was like, I can't be bedbound. This cannot happen. And the person I was in my car wreck with, thank goodness, was an emergency room nurse. And she's like, I want to see the x-rays. And at first the doctor was not going to let her see my x-rays. I paid for them. I was like, you don't understand. You work for me. I want a second opinion. Right. She is going to see my x-rays.
Absolutely.
So she went over and saw the x-rays, and she said, I see an anomaly, but I really don't think it's a fracture. I think you need a second opinion. And I was like, get me out of here. I wanted to go to, at that time, Health South in Birmingham. Dr. Martin was a spinal specialist, and he saved me. I had to do 3.5 years of physical therapy, and people do not understand. It is torture.
It is torture.
It is pure torture. And all
Absolutely.
I did, I went from being a pharmaceutical rep, trying to work, couldn't do it. The pain, I traveled so much. I couldn't do it. And I found myself literally in bed for 20 years, isolated, pain management created, an Oxycontin addict. I was taking 380 milligrams Oxycontin.
Wow.
That's 38 times the normal starting dose, with Lortab, Xanax, and 14 total medications. So here I was getting steroid injections pretty much every 6 to 8 weeks. Never got out of pain. I don't care how much opiates I just downed. Then I went even to street drugs trying to get out of pain, and I woke up 267 pounds, and I was lonely. My parents had died. My family stepped away. They thought it was all in my head. Fibromyalgia is all in your head. Well, fibromyalgia is a legitimate disease. It's a connective tissue problem. And I just started, I remember laying in bed going, okay, I'm 267 pounds, never got married, never had children, all my dreams that I wanted. And the lowest point was when I almost lost my eyesight. I had a pseudotumor. The ocular pressure of my spinal fluid was really high, and it created this pseudo pocket around my ocular nerve. And Dr. Vafiatis at the Eye Foundation saved my eyesight. But he said, if you don't lose 100 pounds, you're going to be blind in 6 months.
Wow.
So I got really motivated. Now remember, I was in my 40s at this time, in menopause, hypothyroid problems, 3 autoimmune problems, and I was hopeless. I was like, went to the allopathic doctors. All they did was create a drug addict. They think it's all in my head. It's psychosomatic, which it's not. No, and I just gave up. I was like, okay, if I'm going to train, have $4 million of medical training, and I go teach doctors, I'm going to become the doctor. So that's what I did. I laid in bed going, okay, what does neuropathy, what does ankylosing spondylitis, what is spastic colon, what do migraine headaches, all these itises, because I was inflamed.
Yes.
2 reasons why you're sick in life: you're inflamed or toxic, and you're malnourished. And I started drawing these concentric circles around all these diseases, and the commonality was inflammation.
Absolutely.
So I said, okay, if I am a rep and calling on doctors, I have to learn about nutrition, because in medical school, you don't get nutrition.
Unless it's naturopathic medicine.
Unless it's a naturopathic medicine, and then you get all kinds of semesters. But I had never been taught the correct way to eat to make sure I had the 84 trace minerals that we need.
Absolutely.
I was never taught the importance of living water, spring water, not fluorinated water.
Right.
And I just started detoxing. And literally for the first 3 months, I would do hot Epsom salt baths, incorporate essential oils at that point, and I would have a black ring of black goo coming out of my body. It was that thick, guys, of my bathtub, of the detoxing, all the heavy metals, all the pharmaceutical synthetic drugs.
Absolutely.
And I was eating Weight Watchers, trying to lose weight, but all it was sodium. There was no living food. And I started doing some supplements. I started doing a product that had green tea in it. I started doing a lot of juicing, detoxes. And little by little, I just decided I have to get out of this bed. I'm going to hurt regardless. I'm, 40 years old. I've got to have a life. I never got married, never had children. I have to take control of my life.
That's right.
And so I said, okay, all these doctors are fired. They're fired. And I started being my own medical doctor, my own medical advocate, because I know my body. You know your body better than anybody. You have
really
this
do.
intuition that tells you something is wrong. This is not just in my head. And of course, the autoimmunity and the pain twists you.
Pain does.
Pain totally
Affects
twists
your
you.
psyche.
It affects your
Absolutely.
psyche, and you become totally depressed.
Absolutely.
There were times that I used to wake up in the morning time going, Jesus, seriously, I'm a Christian. I can't kill myself, but you won't take me home. I woke up going, because all I had to look forward to was taking drugs and sleeping 18 hours a day. The TV was my only companion because my family stepped aside and my fiance left. So here I was with a cat for 20 years, addicted to drugs, literally, legally a heroin addict, thanks to Oxycontin. And I just said, this is not the life God had for me. And I started slowly peeling back, looking at even the traumas that I had in my life. The car wreck, my mother died in my arms, the fiance leaving, and then I had a sexual assault outside 2 years ago, which created post-traumatic stress. And I'm like, really, God? 20 years wasn't enough for you? I have to walk through this? But what the devil means for harm, God can use to help other people. Now I work in addiction. Now I understand the psyche, the physical dependency of having to have a drug just to function, just to be able to get through the day and handle the pain. You had Lyme disease. You have your mold issues that you had, and people.
I was disabled and bedridden as well.
So we both. Really, it's kind of beautiful because we use naturopathy.
It is, and that's how we met.
Yes,
actually,
we met.
is the
And now
fact
we're
that
just
we
like
have
family.
a similar story.
Yes.
Is that both of us have lost 100 pounds and
100-pound club. Whoop,
That's
whoop.
right.
Founding members.
Yes, we are, and we are proud members of that club.
And proud naturopathy. I'm an ambassador, and you're the doctor.
That's right. And
I play one on TV, though.
as she is right now.
Yes.
What we learned and what she learned and how we got together was basically you and I started talking about nutrition.
Yes.
And we talked about
different herbs and
the herbs
supplements.
and the things for inflammation.
Yes.
And we were talking about pain. You met me in the height of my my most recent mold exposure. And
your lowest form. I mean, you were really at a low
absolutely,
point.
Absolutely. And lovely, blessed to have met her and
Thank you.
have her in my life. And she was really an advocate for me, reminding me the things I had learned. But when you are sick,
you can't remember them.
You just can't. It's really hard
it's
to.
Hard.
It's hard
cognitive
to treat yourself.
dysfunction.
Yes.
Yeah. And plus, we're caregivers. You and I both, as a naturopathic life coach and as a naturopathic doctor, we were raised to take care of other people.
Absolutely.
And when you
not
get
ourselves.
sick, you can't do that. It's got to be. I really did. I went into a bubble, started detoxing, started really trying to forgive those that hurt me, because you have to. The first step of healing is, first of all, accountability of your life. How did you get here?
Yep.
And then the second is, if you have harboring bad emotions towards people, you've got to forgive them for your own sake, for your spiritual growth. But it is a huge step in the healing process. And I just started trying to make amends with my family. Like, look, I'm not on drugs anymore. I'm not that horrible person that you knew. I'm not this sick person anymore. And it took me 2.5 years to live. I lost 150 pounds in the middle of being hypothyroid, menopausal. My doctors still are like, how did you do that? But the power of the mind.
The power of the mind and the power of the organic fruits and vegetables and the things you put in your body, the non-toxic
You are what you
things.
eat, literally.
Literally, you are what you eat.
When you take in nutrition, that's why I really teach with my clients. We don't do GMO foods. We do
No,
organic.
absolutely.
We do spring water, living water. You know, get those 84 trace minerals, detox the body, move the body. For
Remove
20 years,
the obstacles to
yes,
cure.
I was so scared to move and exercise because I was scared I'd re-injure my back. And then living on disability, I was like, I can't go to the gym. I'm disabled. I can't do this. Well, I limited my mind. And my brain never
And
got
you believe it.
balanced because all I was doing drugs with no nutrition, no writing, no singing, nothing. I
Nothing
was
to nourish your
drugged,
soul.
Nothing to nourish my soul. And I tell you, when I really started healing is I went back to Mississippi State and I started going to football games and tailgating, going to the softball games, getting with my
Things that you love.
sorority. Yeah, I had to plug back in and find out what
That's
did
right.
I do as a child that brought
make
me
yourself
joy,
happy.
because I did.
Yeah.
When I first started recovering and I wanted to lose all this weight, I was not a happy person. I had no joy. I was drugged for 20 years.
Yeah.
And my first journey really was, it's like, I want to find what makes me happy. I didn't know at 40 years old what made me happy. I never have taken inventory. And I promise you, if you work yourself to death to get all these riches and people drive their bodies into the ground, you're only going to spend your riches trying to gain your health back.
Absolutely.
Your health is your wealth.
It is your wealth, absolutely.
And I teach this, like, look, if you want to have a healthy, successful life with your family, teach your family, you're responsible for bringing in food into your home. People are like, oh, my kids aren't going to eat that. I'm like, yes, they will. If you fix it and prepare it right and teach them why it's important of not developing autoimmune issues, of not developing cancer. Because you put your body out of homeostasis and stress it out long enough, you will develop an autoimmune problem. And if you ignore it, that autoimmune problem, then we make cancer cells every day of our lives. Every day. That's why detoxing is so important. That's why flooding in nutrition is so important. And that's my
gene
mission
expression.
now. It's epigenetics. It's the memories of my ancestors I'm carrying, of their traumas in my body, their emotional scars in my body. We are just a sum total of our ancestors. And I knew neuroplastically, the brain is kind of like a plastic elastic, those brain synapses.
Yes.
I had to learn to reprogram my thoughts.
You can make new ones.
You can make new ones, make new habits.
New
Get up
thoughts, new
every
habits.
day
That's right.
and get on your set daily intentions. Every day I would get up, I would do my bone broths. I would do my essential oils and anoint my body. I would do stretching, or I would try to somehow walk. I did gardening. That's how I first started. I was so vitamin D deprived from laying in bed 20 years.
Oh, I'm sure.
Just getting out into the sun, because when you're on fentanyl patches and Oxycontin, you start itching if you get too hot. I never could do heat. I was like, I can't do heat. And as an athlete, I love being outside. But it just got cut off. And I started becoming isolated. I think, dis-ease is out of comfort. You're out of
Absolutely.
ease.
Yes.
So how do you get back in comfort and back in your body in harmony? You have to be mind, body, and soul. And that's what I really started feeding my soul with, things I loved. I started feeding my body the nutrition I needed. I started feeding my spirit. I started reading the Word of God over my body, the verbal. How did God create the world? He spoke it into existence. So when I eat living green plants, I'm in essence eating a created part of my Savior in his vocalization of creating the world. I'm taking that energy into my body. And don't tell me you can't lose weight. Don't tell me you can't get off drugs. Don't tell me you can. There's no expiration stamp on my foot. The doctor can't tell me, well, you've got 6 months to live. I had a doctor tell me if you don't change and get your liver back into control, not only going to lose your eyesight in 6 months, but you'll be dead in 2 years. He sat there, my pain management doctor says, you'll be dead in 2 years. He just walked out. No protocols.
There's something to be said for bedside manner, I would say.
Just a little bit, but no protocols, no nutrition, no doctor ever asked me what I ate.
Well, and they don't have the training for it, to be honest.
No,
they really don't.
don't.
And it's an integral part of healing. And that's,
It's
I think,
the key component
how
in healing.
you came to naturopathic medicine is the fact that you do understand treating the body as a whole, treating with nutrition, putting the nutrients you need in your body.
Thanks to the person who introduced me to naturopathy, because I would be still lost in the desert. I call it being in the desert.
Yeah, honestly.
Just wandering.
Truly.
Doctor to pain specialist. I've been them all. I used to be one of those doctor shoppers. Oh, I don't care for him. He doesn't give me enough drugs. Let's go to this guy. Oh, I had him down pat. I knew which one's prescribed what. It's doctor shopping. And how much are we giving our power over to an allopathic system that manages us?
Yes.
How about go to naturopathy and get to the root cause?
And remove the root cause.
And remove the root cause. And fix, not put a Band-Aid of drugs,
Yes.
but literally go in, peel it back like an onion, look in and go, there's the cause. Get it out of the
and
body.
maybe there's multiple.
Yes,
I mean,
there could
you
be
were
multiple.
isolated.
I was isolated.
And now, that was 20 years ago, but right now we have an opiate crisis.
Right, there is a
And
big
that
opiate crisis. DuPont
that
just
was
got
the
fined. I think it was
beginning of
$100 billion that the DuPont family just got sued. People are waking up, guys. Pharmaceutical is not the way to go. When you take a product, like this, say this is a pharmaceutical agent, I'm the brain, you're the body. When you take a pharmaceutical agent, that pathway is blocked. Your brain can't communicate with your body, and you keep adding all these different drugs, which we don't know side effects. I was on 14 different drugs. They don't know what one overlapped with this, which overlapped with that. They had no clue.
Chasing symptoms.
And then, you know, when I'm dealing with the cancer patients that I deal with on a nutritional consult, I'm not a doctor, but when I'm looking at cancer patients and chemo, I sat there and watched one of my best friends I've known since my childhood have to go through chemo. I sat there and rubbed her feet, and I didn't agree with the treatment plan she did, but I was there supporting her. But they don't tell you 5 to 10 years down the road that chemo is failed nerve agents. It's nerve agents. So you're going to probably get not only a secondary cancer, worse than the beginning, the one that you were fighting, but it changes your DNA as well.
And radiation, for example, creates neuropathies, as you know, and and things. And people don't ever, I never hear anyone say in radiation, like, perhaps you should start jumping up your B vitamins so you can
nobody
not
thinks
have
about
a
vitamins,
neuropathy
nutrition. No,
Yes.
because not even oncologists. What kills me, again, going back to the friend that was having the chemo, one of her friends brought her a chocolate sugary sheet cake, and I'm like going, you don't need to be eating that. And I got jumped on by the spouse going, leave her alone. I'm like, sugar feeds cancer, and you're trying to push chemo into your body to kill cancer, and yet you're feeding it on the other hand through emotional comfort food. How many Americans find themselves overweight, hopeless, chronically ill with no avenues? You go from doctors, spend all your money trying to get well, and they don't do anything but just give you drugs.
Do you ever notice the vending machines in a hospital? It's kind of a pet peeve of mine.
All candy.
The food.
All
the
candy,
food they
all
provide in
drinks.
a sick environment.
Yeah,
and
no bone
sugar
broth.
turns off your immune system.
No fruits, vitamin C, high levels. Guess what, guys? High levels of vitamin C cures cancer. You do intravenous C. How would if someone came with cancer with you? What would be some of your protocols?
It depends. It's different. There are different cancers that we use C for, but we also do a lot of. It's also antiviral, antibacterial. I mean, I haven't taken an antibiotic outside of my one Lyme section there in 15 years because I do antiviral nutrient IVs. And
you're killing those pathogens.
A lot of people will poo-poo it. I think the popular ones are hangover IVs, but that's really just one small section of it. It's really a field that I'm trained all the way through oncology in intravenous nutrient IVs.
I would go IV all the way. If I found out I had cancer, I'd do hyperbaric chamber treatment. I would be doing high levels of vitamin C. I'd be changing my diet completely.
They use
start detoxing. Ozone therapy is really good.
There's a lot of really great cancer therapies in Germany. I go there to train actually for that because they allow a lot more specific cancer treatments that are along those lines. They do IV, they will do chemo, but they will do IVs in between to make sure you're not getting a neuropathy,
to rebuild up your immune system.
To give you,
I never understood, why do you want to poison the body with chemo when you're trying to build the immunity to fight a pathogen already? And again, we make cancer cells every day. If you're not aware of the environmental toxins, your cleaners, your laundry detergent, your makeup, your water, your food,
drinking out of water bottles.
Plastic, microplastic organisms that you're taking in. Plastic, fluorinated water and plastics destroys your thyroid.
And it also creates estrogens, exogenous estrogens that you're taking in.
Which is making all your hormones fluctuate, making you feel crazy and fat.
Absolutely.
And people, they don't go to their doctor and say, look, I'm having these symptoms, and he really doesn't ever connect the dots to get to the cause.
I can't even imagine an allopathic doctor saying, maybe you should stop drinking out of plastic water bottles because your estrogens are through the roof.
I would fall off the table. I don't go to allopathic doctors, but I would literally fall off the table.
Yes, I mean, that would be amazing, actually.
But my whole reason to have Eden's Living TV is to really expose people to alternative routes of therapies, to expose them. Well, what if I have leaky gut and I have leaky brain? What if I have post-traumatic stress?
Right.
What can I do for this? You know, if I do have traumatic experiences with emotional freedom techniques that I'm teaching, every episode I have strategically made where people come in and I want to make sure that they're a great educator. In teaching people, again, naturopathy, teaching people to empower themselves,
yes,
become their own advocate, and take control of their health.
That is key.
Your health is your wealth. It's
It
key.
really is.
It
And
really is.
Having people like you, I believe, in my field, to have, I see patients, and I'm seeing patients after patients, but to change your whole lifestyle, you really need support.
You need a coach.
You need support, and you're not just a regular coach. You need a naturopathically driven coach,
Right,
because they are going to uphold something that I will tell you to do. I will tell you to change your lifestyle,
Right.
and I don't have the time
You don't.
to be in their refrigerator.
Right.
To be,
And
I would
do.
love to.
And I do, yeah.
I would love to go into
Yes.
patients' home and just clean out
Right.
their whole fridge. But that's the kind of thing that you do, and that is why it's so important what you're doing to bring awareness
I love
and
naturopathy.
things like that.
It saved my life. I mean, I would literally be either blind
Myself
or
as
dead.
well.
I would be blind or dead. And I know my
mine as well.
protocols work because I've worked with really 3 big weight loss. I've had someone get off a pain pump, lost 85 pounds. Had someone lose 33 pounds the first month. Another young lady that I'm working with now, all she's done is change her eating habits and get back in the gym. She's lost 12 pounds in a month. That is amazing.
It is.
But my biggest was 102 pounds. 97 days, I poured into this person. I'm talking about on the phone, working on traumas, teaching them how to label read, teaching them how to exercise appropriately.
Label reading is key.
Label reading is key. If you don't know what your food has in it and you don't know what you're taking.
That's right.
Like I teach people, I don't do any malic acid. I don't do ascorbic acid. I don't do any of these acids. None of these natural flavors on it. That's not natural. You want organic
Natural flavors, not
food.
really a thing.
No, what is it? Red dye number 6 causing the cancers, yellow number 5 and 7s.
There's a lot of.
And you're feeding your kids sugar and all these unnatural dyes, and you wonder why they have ADD. Maybe it's what you feed them.
And the caffeine and the diet. A lot
all this
of children
Coca-Cola.
react to dyes. That's
And
a very common reaction.
Foods. Let's talk about food sensitivities. I had to find out, like I found out with my fibromyalgia, I can't be eating a lot of nightshade plants, tomatoes, eggplants. I have to watch acidic foods. Can cause me to have a flare. I don't drink coffee anymore because guess what? Coffee makes your body acidic. Dr. Sebi is a really good resource. If you go to YouTube, Dr. Sebi was an African self-taught practitioner, kind of like myself. He was curing AIDS. He was curing cancers and got arrested, and he didn't come out of prison. I think they killed him. But he was curing cancer, and his whole philosophy is getting the body in an alkaline environment.
And that is kind of the theory.
pH balance. Guess what can't grow in alkalinity?
Cancer.
Thank you. Why aren't oncologists taking pH test strips, getting the body's pH level? And I found if I keep my body between 7.2, anywhere from 6.8 to 7.2, I'm alkaline. I don't have the joint pains with the fibromyalgia. I don't have the spinal issues that I have. And if I do start hurting, I do my CBD oil. Love Canaway CBD oil. I do my Young Living essential oils because they have a seed to seal, no GMO seeds. They control no pesticides, no chemicals. So if I'm trying to heal a body or get it nutritionally, since I'm not a healer, I'm a teacher, get it nutritionally balanced, it's all about making sure, is your sugar processed? Is your salt white processed with no trace minerals? Your canola oils, you got to get rid of the canola.
No
These
canola oils.
these unhealthy oils is the worst thing that you can do for your brain. Oh, and then the diet. Everything diet. We've taken low fat.
Yes.
You need fat in your body for cholesterol to produce energy, and you need it for brain function. Avocados, olive oil, coconut. I do a coconut tablespoon every day to feed my brain cognitively. Y'all forgetting your car keys or where you put your cell phone down? A little ginkgo, a little, CoQ10 or ubiquinol.
Yes.
Feed that brain. Do the fish oils. We've got to have healthy fish oils for healthy brain.
And I have to just break in right there. When we talk about fish oils and when we talk about supplementation, people will say omega-3s are great, and I'm going to take an omega-3.
Get the right one, though.
Correct. Fish oil and probiotics are the most common supplements to go bad.
And you don't buy your stuff at CVS. I'm sorry. No offense, CVS. But
stay in your lane,
yes,
CVS.
Stay in your lane. Do your
stay
drugs.
in your lane.
If you
dole
need,
out pharmaceuticals
if
and
you
flu
need
shots.
supplements or herbs, find a really good company that you know they grow their own products. There's no pesticides or chemicals because if you're trying to heal the body, you're not going to add carcinogens to the body. And just start detoxing and move and hydrate. I call it the 6 pillars of health.
There's a couple of distributors that really test their supplementation. So the lines that they carry, the nutraceutical lines they carry, are always passing very high-grade testing to make sure they have the right form, they're human bioavailable, things like that. So Emerson Ecologics is one that is in New Hampshire, and that's a fantastic. They carry a lot of lines, including some over-the-counter brands. And so I know if I'm looking at their website and I'm in Florida, let's say, and I don't have anything and my mother's sick, I go, okay, well, what over-the-counter brand does Emerson carry? Right. I can get that at a store, and I know that I'm getting a good supplement. I'm getting good quality.
It's all about the
Natural
body's
Partners is the one in Phoenix
to absorb nutrition.
It is, and it's about getting the correct form.
Yes,
and I think that is where people like you and I are very helpful as far as supplementation. When people will say, I'm going to take vitamin E, and for example, my mom buys vitamin E at Costco, and only one form is bioavailable and usable.
Right.
But if you combine the two forms, they cancel each other out.
Right.
So you just take vitamin D all day long, and you're getting nothing. You get zero out of that, except for
you're just wasting your money. So I'm hoping that this series, this whole Eden's Living TV, y'all please share it with your friends. If you want to come support my ministry, where you can take donations, but I really want to bring a whole other season past this one, bringing in the functional doctors, the integrated, such as Dr. Graytop. She's going to be one of our practitioners here on the set a lot.
I'm going to be a regular.
Yeah, regular, and we really do appreciate you coming on, and thank you for interviewing me, and I'm hoping my story blesses someone.
Your story is amazing. And
150 pounds.
150 pounds. Got
14
herself off drugs. And
sober,
this is what she looked
7
like
years.
prior to getting sick. And now we're back to
I'm back to me. She's back, baby.
That's right. And it's amazing when you get back, isn't it? Because you feel like yourself. And we were talking on another show, but we were talking about how invisible you feel when you have gained 100 pounds and you feel like the world is just ignoring you. Like you could be carrying 10 bags of groceries and nobody will open a door for you. It's like night and day. You really do become invisible. And you were saying vitamin D. You were deficient on vitamin D, and that alone can cause depression just by itself with nothing
else. And magnesium deficiency.
Magnesium deficiency as well.
That's why you tune in to Eden's Living TV. All things naturopathic.
That's right. We get back to the garden.
Get back to the garden.
And we eat out of the garden.
That's right.
And we do non-GMO and organic, and that is why it is so important. And for you, why did you seek out naturopathic medicine? Why do you love?
I love God because God gave us everything we needed in the garden.
That's right. And the body is innate wisdom. And it can heal itself if you remove the obstacles to cure, which is the paradigm of naturopathic medicine and a naturopathic life coach. So if there is something you would like to leave our viewers, which are your viewers, what would it be?
Hold on to hope. Never lose hope. You're never too chronically ill to really heal yourself, and hold on to Jesus. He's got you.
And honestly, hope and faith is the way through everything, because you don't get put in these situations to not learn and teach someone else.
And now I'm a light worker to teach other people. That's right.
That's correct. That's why you and I have been through, I say, hell and back.
We have. Now we're going to get you out of hell and back.
That's correct. And we will teach you how to get there, won't we?
That's right. Thank y'all for tuning in today. Eden's Living TV. If you'd like, donate and share with your friends.